Welcome back guys. So this is going to be the review of Redmi Note 9 Pro. I bought it from Amazon India. Its price is around rupees 14,000. It's the retail unit. Quickly starting with the specs. So it has Snapdragon 720G processor. Snapdragon 720G processor has 2 Cryo 465 gold cores and 6 Cryo 465 silver cores. This is the 4GB RAM variant of Redmi Note 9 Pro. Internationally, it is known as Redmi Note 9S. It comes with an IPS LCD panel. It extends 6.67 inches diagonally. It also supports HDR. Resolution is Full HD+. This phone has a very big battery, I have to say. The capacity is 5020 mAh and 18 watt fast charger is also included in the box. Moving on, it comes with quad cameras. The primary camera uses a 48 megapixel sensor with a quad Bayer filter. It's the Samsung ISO Cell Bright GM2 sensor. Its pixel size is around 0.8 micrometer and the lens has an aperture of f1.79. The image output is in 12 megapixel mode, but we can take pictures using the full 48 megapixel mode as well. It also has an ultra wide lens. It's of 8 megapixel resolution. The 119 degree ultra wide lens comes with an aperture size of f2.2. The third lens is the 5 megapixel macro lens with a pixel size of 1.12 micrometer and an aperture size of f2.4. The good thing here is that the macro lens supports autofocus. Lastly, we have a 2 megapixel depth camera. You can also see here guys, it supports India's Navig satellite system. Along with Navig, it also has support for AGPS, GLONASS, Galileo, BDS. Bluetooth 5 is supported. Dual band Wi-Fi is also supported. Type-C port is there. The interface is USB 2.0. It comes with 64GB UFS 2.1 storage and 4GB of LPDDR4X RAM. The fingerprint sensor is side mounted as it has an LCD screen, so it's not possible to incorporate the fingerprint sensor under the screen. The phone also has support for FM radio. It also has infrared port. A white LED light is also provided for notification purpose. So for its price, it comes with a lot of features, and I have to say guys, I was really impressed by its performance as well. I'll cover it in the later part of the video. Let me just show you the SAR value as well. So you can see here guys, for the head part, the SAR value is 0.898 watt per kg, and for the body part, the SAR value is 0.483 watt per kg. So let's just start with the unboxing. I have already unboxed it and I have been using it for a couple of days now. There's the phone. Okay, it comes with a case and some documentations. I'll just put them aside. There's the case. The jelly case. Yeah, then we have the charger, Type-C cable. Let me just show you the charger. That's it with the unboxing. So this is the fast charger. You can see the output rating here guys, 15 watt, 18 watt and 18 watt again. Coming on to the phone now guys, it's very tall, I have to say. It's heavy as well. Its weight is around 209 grams. Its thickness is around 8.8 millimeter. Both the front and the back side are protected by Gorilla Glass 5. You can see the curved Gorilla Glass 5 here. Another thing to mention here is that the phone comes with a pre-applied screen guard. So that's a good gesture from Xiaomi. The back side easily catches a lot of fingerprints, I have to say. Now you can completely avoid these fingerprints by using the case provided in the box. It's up to you. I'll be comparing it with Poco X2. You can see the size of both of these phones is very similar. Now Poco X2 comes with a metallic frame, but Redmi Note 9 Pro comes with a plastic frame. Still the grip is very good, I have to say. Both of these phones are very bulky. And yes, this is a glass back. And you can see the camera sensors are protruding out on both of these devices. Both of these devices wobble when you place them on a desk. You can see the front camera here guys. It's a 16 megapixel sensor with an aperture size of f2.5. Now let me just give you an overview of all of its buttons and ports. So yeah, these are the volume buttons. This is the power button and it also functions as a fingerprint sensor. I hope it's observable. It's slightly flushed in. Let me just use it as a fingerprint sensor. So you can see it works very nicely. It's very fast and accurate as well. Then at the bottom we have this mono speaker. Then we have this noise cancellation mic, Type-C port. The interface is USB 2.0. This is the 3.5 mm port, so you can use your headphones. That's good to see. This port is missing from most of the premium smartphones. At the top we have this earpiece grill. It's very nicely hidden due to the paint job. The white LED notification light is also hidden inside this grill. I think this is used for the noise cancellation and this is used for recording the audio. Then we have the IR port. On the left side we have the SIM card tray. It supports two 4G SIMs along with a memory card. So that's good to see. Let me just show you the tray. You can see it has support for two 4G SIMs and also a memory card. Now I had no issues with the signal reception. The call quality was also good both on the caller side and the receiver side. I have to say guys, the weight distribution has been done very nicely. The phone feels very solid in the hand. So let me just show you my display settings now. With the default display setting, there is a blue tint applied. Let me just open the display setting here and show you the color scheme. So to reduce this blue tint, you need to select the warm mode. It depends on your preference. We also have saturated mode. Then we have the standard mode. Now it's looking a bit warm. You can select from any of these options. So now I'm going to do the display test. You can see the information about this display. 60 Hz refresh rate. No support for wide color gamut. Support for HDR screen. Yes. Color depth is 32 bits per pixel. And you can see the other information. Let me just do a screen bleeding test. So I can notice some slight screen bleeding around the front camera. Otherwise there is no noticeable screen bleeding. This is the green color. This is the blue color. And this is the white color. So let me just measure the peak brightness of this device. I'll be comparing it with Poco X2. Okay, both of the displays have been set to 100% brightness. So on Poco X2, the brightness is around 550 lux, and on Redmi Note 9 Pro, the brightness is around 478 lux. So it's not as bright as Poco X2, but it gets the job done. And let's just test the viewing angles. So no issues with the viewing angle. The colors don't fade easily. I can read the text here. So not the best display in terms of quality, but for the price range, it's quite decent. Now I'm going to measure the sound output of the single speaker. Okay, I have increased the volume to 100% and now I'm going to play this song.
Through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go. Through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Alright, so the output was at around 95 dBA. Same reading on my Poco X2, and I have to say the vocals were very clear. The sound was also very punchy. So it does a decent job for a single firing speaker. Coming back to the display settings, we can hide this notch as well. Just tap on notch and status bar, tap on hide notch. You can see I have selected don't hide. You can select hide without moving status bar, and then we have hide and move status bar. I'll just select the don't hide option. The thing is guys, this phone comes with dark mode, so we can just enable that. Let me just show you. Here's the dark mode. Now I'm using the Poco launcher for Redmi Note 9 Pro. It's up to you. You can use the Redmi launcher if you want. It does not come with an app drawer, so that's why I'm using Poco launcher as I'm used to it. I'm using the gestures instead of the navigational bar. You can select from any of these. Just tap on full screen display here. You can see I have selected full screen gestures. There's the option for buttons, and here's our buttons, but I'll use the full screen gestures. They work very nicely. Just need to swipe from the edge in order to go back. For the menu button, all we need to do is swipe from the bottom. Now we are back in the home screen. I'm using the gamer theme. Let me just show you the DRM information. You can see here guys, it has support for Widevine L1. So you can stream Netflix and Amazon in full HD mode on this device. Coming on to the software part guys, it comes with Android 10 based MIUI 11. It's MIUI version 11.0.6. Let me just show you the about phone information. You can see here guys, this is the MIUI version. This is the Android version. Android security patch level is for the month of April. For the 64GB ROM variant, storage available for you at the start will be around 45GB. Here you can see the kernel version and other information as well. Then we have some useful MIUI apps like call recording. So just tap on apps here, then tap on system app settings, tap on call settings. You can see here call recording option has been turned off. Tap on it and you can select this option, record call automatically. Then we have the screen recorder. So let me just show you the settings for it. Resolution has been set to 2400 by 1080. Video quality has been set to 16 Mbps. This is the max quality, and we have the option to record system sounds. We also have the option to record the sound from mic or mute. Frame rate has been capped at 30 fps. There is no option to record the gameplay at 60 fps. Then we have the security app. You can scan for viruses, malware. Scrolling down, we can see the game speed turbo booster. You can add your apps here. Game speed booster optimizes the gaming experience according to Xiaomi. Adding apps is very easy. Just tap on plus icon here and just check the app from here which you want to add. Let me just show you its settings. Performance optimization option has been enabled. In-game shortcuts option has been enabled. So we can tap on additional settings here and then select the game. You can see we can increase the touch response from here. We can also increase the sensitivity to repeated taps. So these are useful for games like PUBG. And we can also change the touch resistant area. You can see these areas are becoming smaller. I'll just use the default setting medium. Coming on to the battery part guys, it has a very huge battery I have to say, and the real-time performance is also very good. Now I will be doing a dedicated battery drain test, but let me just give you a brief idea. I'll be showing you my battery usage. So my battery percentage is at around 77%, and screen on time for that period was around 2 hours and 34 minutes. I played a lot of games. I tested Daemon PS2 emulator, and I was also trying out games like PUBG Mobile. I am expecting this mobile to last for the longest duration in my battery drain test. Now I'm going to share with you the synthetic benchmark scores. I'll be comparing it with Poco X2. Poco X2 has Snapdragon 730G processor, and this variant is the 6GB RAM variant. So here's Redmi Note 9 Pro. Now there was an issue with Antutu benchmark scores. The Terracotta Vulkan test ran out of memory and the score should have been around 20,000, but instead of that we got this error out of memory and the score ended up being around 20,000 less. Still it performed decently. the score was around 252,000. On my Poco X2, when I ran this test, the score was around 263,000. Now you can see guys, the CPU performance is actually better than Snapdragon 730G. The CPU score on Redmi Note 9 Pro was around 101,000. On Poco X2, score was around 95,000. And you can see here guys, the GPU score on Redmi Note 9 Pro was around 50,000. It's due to this terracotta Vulkan error. But on Poco X2, score was around 71,000. On Redmi Note 9 Pro, the GPU score should have been around 70,000. But I am not sure why this test runs out of memory. All in all, the performance of this device is very good, I have to say, considering its price. Then we have the Geekbench scores on Redmi Note 9 Pro. The single core score was around 560. On my Poco X2, it was around 546. And the multi-core score on Redmi Note 9 Pro was around 1724. It's again higher than Poco X2. On Poco X2, the multi-core score was around 1693. Then we have the 3D Mark benchmark scores. I was not able to run this test on Poco X2. OpenGL score was around 2483 and the Vulkan score was around 2346. This is the Android score guys. This phone comes with UFS 2.1 storage. The sequential read speed was around 478 Mbps. The sequential write speed was around 171.95 Mbps. You can see the other readings here yourself. Lastly, we have the CPU throttling test. An amazing performance by Redmi Note 9 Pro. I ran the test for around 5 minutes and you can see no CPU thermal throttling detected. And on Poco X2, the CPU throttled to around 93% of its max performance. Still not bad, but Redmi Note 9 Pro really did a very good job. You can see here guys, average performance on Note 9 Pro was around 144 GIPS. On my Poco X2, it was actually higher, 145 GIPS, but that's not a very big difference. The minimum score on Redmi Note 9 Pro was around 134,000 GIPS. On Poco X2, it was around 120 GIPS. Maximum score on Redmi Note 9 Pro was around 148 GIPS. And on Poco X2, it was around 152 GIPS. So both devices are good for gaming as they will be able to sustain high performance, especially Redmi Note 9 Pro. So now I'm going to move to the camera section. First, let me just give you an introduction of the interface. This is the photo mode and by default it is set to 1x. It will be using the wide lens, that is the primary lens. So to switch to ultra wide lens, all I need to do is tap on this dot to the left of 1x. Yeah, so this is the ultra wide lens. And by tapping on this dot to the extreme right, it switches to 2x digital zoom. It basically uses the 48 megapixel photo and crops it in using 2x digital zoom. You can enable the AI option from here. It will detect the subject and enhance the colors based on its algorithm. We have the beauty mode here. You can also apply filters. The beauty mode applies a kind of smoothing effect. By default, the resolution of the photos is 12 megapixel, but you can shoot the photos in full 48 megapixel mode as well. Now I did not find a very big difference in quality of the pic taken using the standard 12 megapixel mode and 48 megapixel mode. This 48 megapixel mode is useful when you really need to zoom in a lot more than the 2x digital zoom. Otherwise the standard 12 megapixel mode will work very nicely for you. Then we have the portrait mode here. Then we have the night mode here, panorama mode. And using the pro mode you can tweak any of these settings: white balance, shutter speed, ISO, EV. You can also switch among the lens, macro lens, ultra wide lens, wide lens. So they have given you a lot of options. The phone can also shoot 960 fps slow motion recordings, but the time is limited to 10 seconds. Coming on to the video recording part, the primary lens can shoot 60 fps videos at both 720p and 1080p resolution. At 4K resolution, the videos are shot in 30 fps mode only. For video stabilization, EIS is used. The camera does not have OIS. For the front camera, video recording is limited to full HD or 720p resolution at 30 fps only. So now I'm going to show you some samples. I'll be comparing it with Poco X2. Alright, so I took this pic using the primary lens of Redmi Note 9 Pro. ample light was available, the noise levels were kept to a minimum, and we can easily do a 2x zoom. The noise levels are still kept to a minimum, but if we zoom in a lot, the smudging effect appears. You can see all of the details are lost now. Branches of the trees are not being processed sharply. The colors also came out to be decent, but after comparing it with Poco X2, I found that the colors were not very accurate. They were slightly oversaturated. They were not true to life. Now let me just show you the same pic on Poco X2. So this is the pic taken using Poco X2. It's the same shot and the difference isn't very big, I have to say. So when there is ample light available, the pictures come out to be very good on both of the devices. But here I can see this far off tree is processed nicely on Poco X2 as compared to Redmi Note 9 Pro. On the far off tree, the color looks slightly dull on Poco X2, but the thing is, it's true to life. And on Redmi Note 9 Pro, the colors have been enhanced. So for the standard pic taken, the size is around 8.07 MB, and you can see the other details here yourself. Resolution is 4000 by 3000. Then we have the ultra wide lens, and you can see the difference in color between the wide lens and the ultra wide lens. Using the wide lens, there was a yellowish tint, but you can see how it changes when we use the ultra wide lens. The ultra wide lens has a field of view of around 119, but the thing is guys, upon zooming in, you lose a lot of details. They are not as sharp as the pic taken using the 48 megapixel sensor, but the dynamic range is decent. It's not that bad. Then I have the same pic taken using the full 48 megapixel sensor. Now there is not a very big difference in quality. You can use this 48 megapixel sensor if you want to crop in the image. At 2x resolution, the pic does look decent, but the thing is guys, if you zoom in a lot, the smudging effect will appear, and you can see here it loses on the details. For day-to-day usage, the standard 12 megapixel mode will work very nicely. Let me show you its details. So you can see here guys, size was around 26.1 MB, resolution was around 8000 by 6000 pixels. Coming on to the selfie camera, I took this pic with a very bright background, and you can see here guys, this is Redmi Note 9 Pro, and it was able to detect my face, but on Poco X2 the front camera was not able to pick my face and it came out to be dark. The details resolved on Redmi Note 9 Pro were decent considering how bright the background was. Poco X2 just was not able to capture my face here. This is the portrait mode using the rear cameras. The phone comes with a dedicated depth sensor and it did a very good job of blurring the background. Edge detection was also good. You can see it was able to capture the hair properly. With ample lighting, you won't be noticing a lot of noise, but under artificial lighting, some noise is introduced. Coming on to the 5 megapixel macro snapper, you can use it to take very close-up shots. Now the 5 megapixel shots are not very high in detail. You may observe some slight noise here and there depending on the lighting, but at least it has autofocus. Using the primary lens, it looks like this. So this is a photo taken under the artificial lighting. This is Redmi Note 9 Pro and this is Poco X2. The colors are sharper on Redmi Note 9 Pro, but again the thing is guys, on Poco X2 the colors are true to life, so it depends on your preference. Both of the pics are nicely detailed. You can see here the green color on Redmi Note 9 Pro is on the saturated side. The colors on Poco X2 are actually true to life. On Redmi Note 9 Pro you can see how aggressive the pink color is. Again it depends on your preference. I'll give you an idea about its color production. Now this is my temperature gun. So this is Redmi Note 9 Pro. The original color is close to orange, but Redmi Note 9 Pro is making the color look like yellow. I hope it's observable. I took the same pic using Poco X2 and Poco X2 was able to pick the orange color. So this is an issue I found with Redmi Note 9 Pro. Coming on to the night mode. So this is Redmi Note 9 Pro and this is Poco X2. I took the pic under the same lighting condition and you can see here guys, the pic was much better on Poco X2. Now the noise levels were kept low on both of the pics. The pic came out to be darker on Redmi Note 9 Pro. So here Poco X2 was the clear winner. For me, EIS worked with only Full HD 30fps video recording. For Full HD 60fps video recording, the data bitrate was around 19,764 kbps. The audio bitrate was around 96 kbps. Audio was recorded in stereo mode. There wasn't a lot of noise, but audio was slightly on the scratchy side. Now for Full HD 30fps recording, the data rate was around 19,985 kbps. So bitrate is roughly the same for both 60fps and 30fps quality. So you will be getting more details with the Full HD 30fps video recording. So now I am going to show you the samples. So guys, I am recording this video using the rear camera of Redmi Note 9 Pro. I am recording this video in Full HD 60fps mode. I am just walking around to check the video stability. Redmi Note 9 Pro has EIS. I am recording the audio using the internal mic of Redmi Note 9 Pro so that you can get an idea about the mic's quality. I'll be shaking the mobile now. EIS. So guys, I am recording this video using the rear camera of Redmi Note 9 Pro. The video is being recorded in Full HD 30fps mode. I am walking around to check the video stability. Redmi Note 9 Pro has EIS. So now I'm going to shake the mobile. So EIS is working very nicely with Full HD 30fps mode instead of Full HD 60fps mode. So I'm recording this video using the rear camera of Redmi Note 9 Pro. This video is being recorded in 4K 30fps mode. I'm just walking around to give you an idea about video stability. Again, the audio is being recorded using the internal mic of Redmi Note 9 Pro. I'll be shaking the mobile now. Now I'll be showing you some short gameplays of PUBG Mobile and Asphalt 9. Before that, let me just talk about the ads in MIUI. So even in this phone, there were some ads. For example, let me just show you the security mode. When you open the game speed turbo mode, you can see the recommended games here. The thing is guys that these apps come bundled with stock MIUI apps. We can disable the ads from settings. Let me just open the MIUI browser and go to settings and then go to advanced setting. So you can see here show ads option has been enabled. I'll just disable it. In some of the apps, this option is shown as receive recommendations or personalized ads. So all we need to do is disable them. Let me just open the security app. I'll go to settings here. You can see here guys, receive recommendations option has been checked. So I need to disable it. This will remove the ads. So now let me just start PUBG Mobile. I'll just show you a short gameplay here. We'll be doing an extreme gaming test soon. I have already tested many games on this mobile, so you can watch those videos. Okay, let me just show you my graphic settings. So HDR option is not available on Redmi Note 9 Pro. The max graphical setting is limited to HD option, and with HD option frame rate has been limited to high. And if I select the smooth graphics option, ultra frame rate option is available. Now the thing is guys, the MIUI game speed turbo mode is not working properly with Redmi Note 9 Pro. It always shows 60 FPS, but that's not true. So I'll select the HD graphics, frame rate set to high, anti-aliasing enabled, shadows enabled, auto adjust graphics option disabled. Let's just start our game. So no issues with the touch input. This phone has a very big battery cell, so gaming sessions should be able to last for hours. It will be interesting to see how much score it will put in the extreme battery draining test. The FPS counter just shows 60 FPS. You can see the CPU and GPU resource utilization here. 35% CPU utilization, 30% GPU utilization. So now I'm going to run Asphalt 9. I even tested Daemon PS2 Pro emulator and Dolphin emulator on Redmi Note 9 Pro and the results were very good. So when it comes to gaming, at this price point it is one of the best mobile devices out there. Yeah, the race is about to start. So you can see here guys, FPS counter shows it's running at 60 FPS. That's not true. The colors look nice. Asphalt 9 is a very good looking game. Oh, I crashed there. The best part is that this phone does not throttle easily. It can definitely sustain the peak performance for a long time. Race complete. So guys, I'll end the video here. I hope you found it useful. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.